There are hundreds of billions of planets caught up in the vast whirlpool of the Milky Way galaxy. From Earth, a lonely outpost floating on one of its spiral arms, humans have begun to peer across the void. And just recently, scientists have found the first Earth-sized habitable zone world. NASA's exoplanet program was created to find unmistakable signs of life on other planets. During the search for extraterrestrial life and Earth-like planets, NASA has found some incredibly bizarre alien worlds. We'll talk briefly about the planet's host star and the discovered Earth-like planets themselves. PSR J1719-1438 is probably one of the most fantastical cosmic objects you'll learn about here. The first thing to know is that 1438 is a neutron star, a small but incredibly dense stellar object which usually averages no more than 12 miles in diameter. Neutron stars are so dense that just 1 teaspoon of their stellar material would weigh about 1 billion tons on Earth. It's also a pulsar, which is a neutron star that emits strong beams of electromagnetic radiation from its magnetic poles and has intense magnetic fields, about 1 trillion times stronger than Earth's magnetic field. Some pulsars have an amazingly fast rotational spin, but 1438 is known as a millisecond pulsar that has a spin period of 5.4 milliseconds. That's about 10,000 rotations per minute. But we're talking about exoplanets here. And that's why the most impressive feature of the neutron star is its companion, 1438b, which has about the same mass as Jupiter, but is only about 40% the size of the gas giant. So what happened that made this planet so small and so massive? Scientists believe that 1438b is a remnant of a star that had its outer layers stripped away by the pulsar with its incredibly strong magnetic field. What's left is a planet that's composed largely of crystalline carbon, making this planet a giant diamond 5 times larger than the Earth, but with a density far greater than diamonds. Another incredibly mysterious planet is orbiting just 63 light-years away from Earth, which has been named HD 189733b. First discovered in 2005, its blue color comes not from the reflection of an ocean like Earth, but instead a hazy, blowtorched atmosphere containing clouds laced with silicate particles. This gas giant has daytime temperatures of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit and 4,500 mile-per-hour winds. Under these conditions, it's speculated that it may rain liquid glass sideways. The planet is only 2.9 million miles away from its parent star, so close that it's gravitationally locked where one side always faces the star. By comparison, Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun in our solar system, is 29 million miles away. First discovered in 1999, and named after the transiting planets and Planetesimals small telescope used to find it, TRAPPIST-1 is an ultra-cool red dwarf star that is slightly larger but far more massive than the planet Jupiter. It's about 39.6 light-years away from the Sun. The very first planet that NASA found that had a radius similar to Earth was Kepler 186f in 2014. This discovery confirmed that Earth-sized planets do exist in the habitable zones of other stars, and it signaled a step closer to finding a world similar to our own. In 2015, astronomers used NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope along with ground-based telescopes and found not 1, but 7 temperature terrestrial planets that orbit the red dwarf. These very Earth-like alien worlds are mostly rocky, and some have the potential of holding up to 250 times as much water as planet Earth. These 6 planets could lie in the optimistic habitable zone, and are so close together that if you were standing on the surface of one, you could see the other planets as moons. But the red dwarf star only puts out 0.5% of the energy of our Sun, and so the planets are dark and cold, and the star is about 5.4 and 9.8 billion years old. Many more planets are being discovered every year, and in early 2020, NASA discovered a planet the same size and same distance from its star as the Earth, about 13,000 light-years away. It was found using the microlensing technique and is very cold and likely has no life. It's known as an ice ball planet and is too far away from its host star, which some scientists are now saying may not be a star at all, but a brown dwarf. But even here in our own solar system, there's the possibility for life other than on Earth. The second largest moon to Saturn and the second largest natural satellite the solar system is Titan. It's the only other known body in space other than planet Earth where there is clear evidence of stable bodies of liquid. And usually, where there is liquid water, there could be life. Titan is a planet-like moon that is 50% larger than our Earth's moon and is 80% more massive. It has rain, lakes, and oceans, but is not exactly what you're imagining here on Earth. It's far more bizarre. We'll talk about that in a minute. Titan also has valleys, mountains, ridges, mesas, and dunes, some of which are ice-covered deep lakes from vicious winter storms because it's far away from the sun and only gets 1% of the sunlight Earth does. So how does it have an atmosphere with rain, ice, and liquid surfaces? Titan is much colder than the Earth, with surface temperatures around minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit range, minus 179 centigrade. Although it sounds like we're talking about water, Titan's atmosphere is 98% nitrogen in 2% methane, and the seas and lakes are liquid ethane and methane. Even though its northern hemisphere is home to small liquid lakes, it's not really liquid at all. With these extremely cold temperatures, ethane and methane behave much like liquid water. However, Titan does have some warmth, and may have what's called a home-baked atmosphere. What we mean by this is that organic molecules are likely cooked by the moon's warm core, and the decay of radioactive elements may warm the moon from within. With all this in mind, is it possible that Titan could harbor some form of exotic life forms? That might sound a little bit far-fetched, but scientists believe that Titan's atmosphere could be the perfect laboratory for studying the organic chemistry that preceded life, which provided the building blocks for life on Earth. Deposits of organic material have been found in some parts of Titan, showing proof that this giant moon could host biologically interesting compounds, such as amino acids, which are the building blocks for all living things. Some scientists have regarded Titan as a deranged version of the Earth, and at the same time say it resembles an infant Earth in many ways before life evolved and irrevocably changed our planet. Titan's ocean sits below a thick ice layer and is believed to have favorable conditions for life, even though we're talking about life that exists in extremely harsh conditions. We already know of some life forms right here on Earth that can survive even in the vacuum of space, such as tardigrades, that can also survive minus 328 degrees Fahrenheit and temperatures as high as 300 degrees Fahrenheit. They can survive radiation, boiling liquids, and massive amounts of pressure, of up to 6 times the pressure of the deepest part of the ocean, without any protection. If this creature can exist in all these harsh conditions, there's no telling what kind of life could exist on Titan with its extreme environment. Some astrobiologists say that because there is a lack of liquid water on Titan's surface, there probably isn't any life there. But could life exist in Titan's methane seas? If life does indeed exist on the surface of Titan, scientists have agreed that it would be microbial, either very small in size or even single-celled organisms. But NASA thinks there's enough evidence for life and is planning to land a flying robot on the surface of the moon. We've already been to Titan before, with the Cassini mission that almost everyone is familiar with. What most people don't know is that on January the 14th, 2005, Cassini jettisoned a small probe called Huygens, which made a spectacular film of its 2.5-hour descent into the surface. Huygens landed, surrounded by round blocks of ice, and saw dry shorelines, reminiscent of Earth, and many rivers of methane. The new mission is called Dragonfly, and will be the first endeavor of its kind. It's a car-sized quadcopter that is equipped with instruments capable of identifying large organic molecules. The Dragonfly is supposed to launch in 2026 and arrive at Titan in the year 2034. When the craft arrives, it will land near Titan's equator, among dunes composed of solid hydrocarbon snowflakes. It'll be powered by heat from radioactive plutonium, much like NASA's Mars rover. But with its 8 rotors, it's going to be able to cover much more distance than any wheeled robot ever has. The Dragonfly drone will have to maneuver on its own, as light signals from Earth take 43 minutes to reach Titan, which makes the Dragonfly much more complicated to operate than a standard drone. The drone will use a specially designed navigation system that will help it to identify hazards and avoid them, and also be able to land autonomously. The AI that will be used on Dragonfly will be state-of-the-art. While in flight, the craft will sample the atmosphere and provide aerial images of the landscape. It'll then fly to multiple locations hundreds of miles apart, collecting data. But the ultimate destination is Selk Crater, which is the site of an ancient meteor impact, where scientists say they found evidence of liquid water, organic molecules, and the energy that could fuel chemical reactions. This will be the 4th mission to be funded as part of NASA's New Frontiers program, which supports medium-sized planetary science projects that cost less than $1 billion. And Dragonfly will cost around $850 million at the time of launch. As for the future of Titan, it could become warmer in 5 billion years from now, when the Sun becomes a red giant and starts the helium-burning process. As our star expands, the outer layers will swallow Mercury, Venus, and eventually the Earth. But this changing Sun may provide hope to other planets or moons, such as Titan. Surface temperatures on Titan could rise to -94 degrees Fahrenheit, high enough for stable oceans of water-ammonia mixtures to exist on its surface. As the Sun's ultraviolet output decreases, the haze in Titan's upper atmosphere will be depleted, lessening the anti-greenhouse effect on its surface and enabling the greenhouse effect created by atmospheric methane to play a far greater role. These conditions together could create an environment agreeable to exotic forms of life and will persist for several hundred million years. This was a sufficient time frame for simple life to evolve on Earth. In early 2020, NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite, TESS, discovered an Earth-like planet named TOI 700d in its star's habitable zone, and is only one of the few that exist where conditions may be just right to allow the presence of liquid water on the surface. However, until more measurements are made, the exact conditions of this planet are unknown. This is where the James Webb Space Telescope will come into play. This telescope is supposed to launch on March the 30th, 2021, and will provide improved infrared resolution and sensitivity that's far greater than the Hubble telescope. At a cost of $10 billion, it's one of the most advanced telescopes ever built. Its expensive mirrors covered in pure gold. The James Webb Space Telescope will be able to image even the most distant events and objects in the universe, such as the formation of the first galaxies, and it's believed that there will come a day where NASA will find a planet just like ours, flourishing with life. But do you think we'll find life out there? Or do you think we're alone in the universe? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all kinds of incredible things in our world and universe. Thanks for watching.